Hello everyone, my name is Yoritomo Kaigen, and I have returned once again to instruct you on how to play Legend of the Five Rings. Ivory Edition is releasing at the beginning of next year, and AEG has been slowly giving us information about it. As of now, we don't know all the rules, but I thought I'd start working on a video explaining the rule changes between Emperor and Ivory, and just updating it as I go along. There may be some of you out there saying, I've never played L5R before. Will this help me learn the Ivory Edition rules from scratch? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Don't worry though, as soon as I have a full rulebook of Ivory Edition, I'll get right to work creating videos that explain the whole game. Let's start from the beginning. AEG has announced a lot of changes to the setup of the game. First off, starting holdings are completely gone. This wouldn't be such a big deal, except AEG gave Border Keep Experienced and Bamboo Harvester's Experience the Eternity bug, promising the cards would be legal for both Emperor and Ivory Edition. We've been told these cards will be playable in Ivory Edition, but they haven't told us how yet. With the loss of Border Keep, I bet you're wondering if we're going back to the days of being gold screwed on turn 1. A new rulebook ability has been added though, called Cycling. We don't have an exact wording yet, but it should read similar to Riverside Port or Border Keep Inexperienced. With Bamboo Harvesters gone, they needed to introduce a new mechanic to offset the advantage of going first. They did this by creating two-sided strongholds. One side is played when you go first, and the other side is played when you go second. The second side gets an added benefit over the first side to balance the two players. Speaking of strongholds, we now know that there will only be one stronghold per clan. Ridiculous, right? How are we supposed to have a diverse field if each clan only has one stronghold to play out of? The answer is that they have decided to bring back Sensei cards as a setup card type. This allows players to customize their decks by choosing from different sensei, just like you would have chosen from different strongholds before. Better yet, this allows them to design sensei that more than one clan can use, something that could not have been pulled off with strongholds. Sensei are still completely optional though. The final change to the game setup is that the starting hand size is going from 6 to 5. The next thing we should talk about is that the phases of the game have been streamlined. The Straighten and Events phases have been added to the beginning of the Action phase, and the End phase has been added to the end of the Dynasty phase. So, at the beginning of the Action phase, the first thing you do is straighten all your cards and flip all your provinces face up. Likewise, the last thing you do before ending your Dynasty phase is draw a card. I bet some of you are saying, I understand getting rid of the Straighten and End phase, but a lot of stuff happens in the Event phase. How are they handling that? Well, let's talk about the big players in the Event phase. Events, Regions, and Celestials. If any of you have seen the events from the dual-bugged expansions, you've probably noticed that they all have an action designator. That's because events no longer resolve automatically. You take an action to use their abilities during the appropriate phase. As for regions, they have been removed from the game. They do have a spiritual successor though in the return of fortifications. Unlike regions, fortifications are holdings that attach to a province after you've bought them, most likely in the Dynasty phase. The rules for fortifications will be changed in Ivory Edition so that you can have as many fortifications on one province as you like, even if they share titles. Unfortunately, fortifications are only considered to exist at their province's battlefield, so they cannot be used at other provinces. Finally, Celestials are completely gone. We'll have to do without the blessings of the heavens. A lot of work has been put into how actions are worded and resolved now as well. First of all, reactions have been replaced with engage and interrupt actions. Engage actions replace the reactions to engaging. Interrupts cover most other types of reactions, but always trigger on before an action resolves. This simplifies things, as there were several windows for reactions in Emperor, which could lead to weird rule lawyer situations. Along with this, they have announced the end of the exception to the rules of presence and location. All actions will require the rules of presence and location be followed unless the card specifies otherwise. To cut down on text, 4 new action designator keywords have been added to the rulebook. If the action says absent, you may take the action without presence. If the action says home, you may take the action even if the card is at home. If the action says repeatable, you may take it any number of times per turn. If the action says tireless, you may take it even if the card is bowed. Finally, the cost of an action has been reduced to just bowing and paying gold. All text in an action are the effects. Incidentally, performing has been removed as well. Here are some of the more general rulebook changes they've announced. One of the biggest changes is the removal of the blood money and clan discount rules. If a personality is of your clan alignment or unaligned, it costs what you see. If the personality is from another clan, you must pay 2 more gold. With blood money gone, you must always meet the honor requirements on your personalities with one exception. If the rulebook or another player has ever caused you an honor loss, you may ignore honor requirements on your clan's personalities. Speaking of dishonor, the rulebook ability to seppuku has been removed. There will still be card effects that allow you to seppuku though. We also have a small change to 2 of the victory conditions. Enlightenment is once again an instantaneous victory, and you now lose the game only when you end your turn at -20 honor or less. They are reintroducing fear effects as well, though with a slight change. Fear is now worded as bow a target enemy follower or personality without followers with X or lower force. With this, they have also said fear, ranged, and melee actions can be combined with the same type of action on other cards in a unit. This way, a small fear, ranged, or melee attack can still be useful. The last of the general rulebook changes are the ones they made to the rulebook equipped actions. First, the battle equipped rule for spells is gone. And second, the normal rulebook equipped action is now open. The final topic we have to discuss are simplifications and cosmetic changes. The biggest simplification they've made is gold pooling. Any extra gold you spend in a phase gets added to a pool that can be used later that phase. This is especially helpful during the Dynasty phase, as you can simply add up how much gold you have to determine what you can buy. A smaller simplification is that when a battle ties at resolution, both players gain 2 honor per opponent's card destroyed instead of 1. As far as cosmetic changes go, keywords with relevant rulebook effects will be bolded, followers have lost their honor requirement and personal honor icons, and strategies have lost their gold cost icon. If the strategy costs gold, it will now appear in the cost constraint. Finally, the bugs have been changed to be more visible. Speaking of bugs, they will be changing every year now. Arcs are still going to be 2 years long, though. This change was made to help AEG implement 3 block formats: strict, regular, and extended. This has been very confusing for everyone, so I thought a visual representation might help. Let's look at the 2015 tournament season as an example. We now know that cards in 2013 are being printed with the green Emperor and purple Ivory bugs, and that cards in 2014 will have the blue and purple Ivory bugs. Let's imagine cards in 2015 will be printed with the blue Ivory bug and some red bug. The strict format covers only the current year's cards. You can also think of it as covering the most recent bug. Regular is a format that covers the last 2 years of cards, so anything with the blue Ivory bug can be used, or you can say the 2 most recent bugs. Extended is a format that covers the last 3 years of cards, so anything with the 3 most recent bugs can be played. For those wondering about the 2014 season, it will be like this. Don't overthink it too much though. You probably won't see strict tournaments until later in the year when a few more expansions have been released, and we won't be seeing extended until the Emperor cards roll out in 2015. Thanks for watching. This is the rough draft of my Ivory Changes video and is current as of November 2nd. There will likely be more rule changes announced in the future, which I will add to the final draft of this video. In the meantime, feel free to comment or message me about anything I could do to help improve the quality of the final draft.